You are listening to Musician Today, weekly podcast with Vera Flamenco. Tune in for your insight into a professional musician's life and awesome new music.
Hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of Musician Today podcast, where we bring you amazing artists from around the world who make independent music. And today we have back, returning for part 2 of the show, my good friend from Pakistan, Sarmad, who's the founder of Ghulab Janamz, the alternative new age rock band. It was formed by him. He's an architect, a songwriter, educator, artist, and composer. And the band formed in 2016. So basically, we already had a big description last time. If you missed it, you can check it out by the links below or above, depends where you're watching. So the episodes from last time are available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Castbox FM, and on any other platform such as YouTube and Facebook. So go ahead, check us out. Today, Sarmad has a very interesting topic for us. Between then and now, he managed not only to produce original music, but this music was also inspired by his recent experience of recovering from the coronavirus. So I think we have an interesting insight today provided by someone who's experienced the virus and who had the opportunity to actually recover and describe his journey to us. So welcome to the show, Sarmad. How are you doing today?
Yeah, thank you so much, Vera, for having me on the show once again. And I would really like to continue where we left last time. Could not explain the concept behind the name Ghulab Janamz. The word Ghulab means rose in Persian, and Janamz means sweetheart. So in rock music, you must have noticed there are a lot of roses, wallflowers, stone temple pilots, lot of stones and roses. So I wanted to make a really exotic name, and plus very creative as well. So the Ghulab Jamun is actually a sweet meat actually in Pakistani culture. So I changed the Jamun to Janam. So it means it converted into rose sweethearts. So everyone really likes, this name. You say, wow, man, how did you figure out this name? I said, I had this name since a long time. So I wanted to, have this creative vibe in my music. Today, I'm going to talk about my recovery process from fatigue to fantastic, my routine and recommendations for people who are struggling with COVID-19, and what actually happened to me. But the good news is that it's not a death sentence, and
We're glad to have you here.
yeah. And I released the song on June 1st, and on the June 2nd, the day of the evening of the June 2nd, I was feeling a little dizzy when I slept, and I was having fever-like symptoms. Then I woke up and I was like really feverish. I was having fatigue in my body, dizziness. So I went downstairs. I told my mom and family that I'm having symptoms. So called the testing company. I'm going to quarantine myself. So luckily, I had a separate entrance to close to the room, close to the laundry room. So my family didn't get affected at all from my infection. So I had a separate entrance, so they just helped me with the food by just putting food in the disposable cups and plates and all that. So initially I had fever for 2-3 days, but it depends from person to person. Normally I never had fever in the summer season throughout my life. I have a good immune system, not even like flu or anything like that. So in this infection, when I got tested positive, so prior to that, my sister got COVID infected, and my brother-in-law and her entire family got infected. But luckily, they all recovered from it. And the strain we have in Pakistan is not that deadly. and it's because of the really warm weather. But I'm going to get to that later, situation in Pakistan. But I want to continue with the uh, the process that I had. So
Sure.
um, I got after my fever was gone, but your body is in a constant struggle, is in a war with the virus. So there are a couple of things that I really want to mention that how to deal with this virus. So normally you get a negative after almost 3 weeks. Your quarantine process is done in 14 days. So I was tested negative after like 17 to 18 days. So I have a really intuitive body. I was listening to my body. So before even knowing that this process, the virus causes clotting in the body, so I was feeling that I'm feeling clots or something. This process going on. So my sister told me to get all the tests done, which is the all body checkup. Your kidneys and liver, all functioning normally, and your blood clotting test, which is called D-dimer. So
Mm-hmm.
my tests were fair, like normal, and my D-dimer was slightly high. So I started to do some research on it, how to curb with this clotting process. Then one thing rang in my mind. I do this cupping therapy, 2 or 3 times in a year, the Chinese cupping therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So they put all the your cups at your back where these points are,
Yeah.
and the Muslim, the Islamic version is called as hijama. They both are pretty much similar. So I thought I don't advise it to really do it, before, or go and get it. Once you get your negative, you cannot infect any other person, and you can get infected. So this is a good time to get this cupping therapy done.
Mm-hmm.
So I did some research, and since I knew how this process is done, and normally the lady who administers this therapy, she shows you the clots, by these cups, and the kind of the toxic blood which is in your skin. So when I got this therapy done, I was feeling very relieved. So I kind of defeated that toxic the clotting process right away. So, but you are not done even when you're negative, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this continues from person to person, from 1 month to 2 months to 3 months. And when this virus leaves, it leaves a very bad depression, because it's like the virus goes all around your body, and brain is one of it. So two facets I've already mentioned. So one facet, I was good in dealing with it, like the clotting thing, and the second was the depression. Since in the previous episode I already mentioned that I teach architectural psychology. So all these PhD doctors and therapists are very well connected to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I rang them up. So they said we are already having a lot of Zoom calls, and this virus is already it does a lot of affects the mental health.
Yeah.
So they
Damage.
advise me to either there's one way to take the serotonin reuptake inhibitor. It's a medicine. So they said and actually they are friends with me, so they tell me everything inside out, that they have their side effects and all
Yeah.
that. So I chose not to take SSRI medicine. So um, I also do deep breathing and cold therapy, the Wim Hof method. So it really worked for me. Some people, they do a lot of this they use the steam to inhale, but since everything is related to blood, so I think you should focus on how you're gonna fix your clotting process, and how you can enable your immune system to fully, this to take
Recovery.
fight this, virus.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say to curb with this depression, the best thing is to watch movies or which can take you to your nostalgia, or watch stand-up comedy and those sketches, so you can have the natural release of dopamine from your brain,
Mm-hmm.
and not really relying on these depression medication.
Mm-hmm.
So I did not take it. So I was like able to take a walk and minor exercise after like 3 weeks, I would say. So, and also later on, I on 9th or 10th of this month, I donated plasma, which is blood, to the COVID patients who are really in critical situation. So
Mm-hmm.
once you give blood, say 50 ml of your blood, so your blood gets thin. So your healing process is gets really improved. So also, I last time I talked about some shadow, the axis like the Leo and Aquarius axis, Virgo, Pisces axis. So to me, music is the shadow side of architecture, and same as astrology is the shadow side of psychology. So the problem with astrology is astrology cannot be tested in lab, and but psychology, which is the Virgo side, you can exactly rule out what kind of fear, phobias you have. So once you get these both readings, so you are good to go. And one thing really not good about psychology is in psychology it cannot predict future, and the medication has side effects.
Mm-hmm.
So it's if you can balance the shadow sides and choose a middle way, that is the real. These are the real remedies, and you can really do good in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So other than I also tested a lot of things on my students. Um, Students who don't have this, who lack the creativity, I tell them, why don't you play piano? Because piano, if you play with both hands, so it helps you to really, your right brain functioning improves. And if you play drums, your feet, your hand, and your head is in sync with the beat. So this is another way to really, it's also a good exercise, and it also, enhances your creative and calculative capacities as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole idea of the good thing about this axis, the shadow sides, you can always work on your weaker sides, how you can improve as a person.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as nutrition is concerned, one thing I missed. Also, I really recommend drawing. If you have a dominant right hand, draw something from your left hand, or play the instrument from your left hand. Later.
Yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
Often we talk about it with my students because most of my students are violin, piano too. But if you look at violin, even though you're right-handed, your left hand actually leads. So when you play traditional classical violin, we hold it in the left hand, and because of that, your left hand fingering leads. So if you're righty or lefty, both ways, it doesn't matter. You're still going to engage both your hands equally, and your right is going to fully engage your body and mind in a process.
And plus you dance as well, so this is another thing.
Well, yeah, that's another task.
That's another task,
Yeah,
and it's also
multitasking.
multitasking, yes,
Hmm.
I would say. So as far as nutrition is concerned, I would say have soup 2 times, not the canned soup. The homemade soup, which you
Yeah.
put, all the meat and all the herbs, cardamom, turmeric, and what else? Cinnamon. and have it 2 times. That really affects, that really helps your immune system to work right away. Lemon juice is also very, very good. If you try a lot of lemon juice, it really opens up your pineal gland, and you really feel it. You know that your sensations and everything. They get improved. Um, Also, now coming to the situation in Pakistan. Uh, Pakistan, did initially very well, but on the 24th of May, there was the Eid, right? So they opened the shopping malls. So the virus, the strain got skyrocketed, and I think almost 60 to 70%, maybe 80% people, they got infected, and they recovered as well, because Pakistan has a lot of young population, and things are getting back to normal. And in the August, July, and September, they are like really hot months. So anything cold or drinking cold water is not recommended at all. Cold water is not good for this virus at all, I would say.
So
So
what do? You warm up your water?
no,
Boil?
I,
Boil
I
it too?
I drink soup 2 times. Still I'm drinking soup, and I'm like 90% there, but it takes time, because the bad thing about it, the recovery process is slow. It is as slow as you're recovering from a heart surgery, but it's just a virus.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not at all a thing for old people and people who are chain smokers. And it's not. I mean, they have to quit smoking, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult. Even I'm not a smoker, and I had a really, I mean, relatively hard time to really work with it. Unless I didn't do this cupping therapy, my recovery process could have been really, really slow.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the situation in Pakistan. Now, why I choose to cover this song? Actually, this is my childhood's favorite song. I used to, as a child, I used to see this movie, and back in those days, even in the Western movies, there was a hero, and the villain gets beaten up in the end, and he gets the heroine like a trophy in the end.
Yeah.
so, so um, the song is, the way they filmed it. It's just like there are a few buskers and they are singing together and preaching that oneness, and the love is everything, and people who have a heart, and there's nothing like black or white. And this is, I mean, I this is that is one of the reasons I chose this song to cover. And it is pretty much, I wanted to do it in a Canadian vibe, because Canada is very multicultural, and it gives an opportunity for different cultures to interact with each other. So I did this song in 2 years back, and the bass is played by a guy who he plays for the biggest band in Pakistan, the bass player.
Wow.
And
Amazing.
yeah, and
Okay, why don't we have a listen and then you can tell us
yeah,
more. Okay,
yeah,
you guys ready?
yeah,
This is Goro Kina Kalo. Am I saying it right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
what does the title mean?
Not for black and not for white.
Okay, here we go.
कालों की दुनिया है दिल वालों की हमारे गूंजे सुबह शाम, हम गीतों के सौदागर है यही हमारा काम। अरे गली गली में गीत हमारे गूंजे सुबह शाम, हम गीतों के सौदागर है यही हमारा काम। न सोना न चांदी, गीतों से हमको प्यार। न सोना न चांदी, गीतों से हमको प्यार। गोरों की न कालों की दुनिया है दिल वालों की, गोरों की न कालों की ओ दुनिया है दिल वालों की। जीना है दिन चार यहाँ खुश होके जी ले यार, करना है कुछ अगर तुझे जी भर के कर ले प्यार। जीना है दिन चार यहाँ खुश होके जी ले यार, करना है कुछ अगर तुझे जी भर के कर ले प्यार। क्या तेरा क्या मेरा भुला दे मेरे यार। क्या तेरा क्या मेरा भुला दे मेरे यार। गोरों की न कालों की दुनिया है दिल वालों की, गोरों की न कालों की ओ दुनिया है दिल वालों की। हंस के जिए हंस के मरे हम जैसे दिल वालों की ओ गोरों की न कालों की दुनिया है दिल वालों की, गोरों की न कालों की ओ दुनिया है दिल वालों की।
Woo! Amazing. I love it. It sounds so familiar. We have some viewers here. Guy from Dayton, Ohio says, I am with you. And we also have Costas from Toronto saying, love all your music. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Wow.
All right. So, what can you tell us about the recording process? Was it produced on the same studio as
No,
Boleyga?
no,
Because it sounds
not
very similar to me in terms of like the sonorities that were used.
Yeah, I wanted to, because when you cover, you have to have almost the same, borrow the same elements,
Mhm.
and you have to polish it, and you then create a new vibe from what you like, how you want it to be.
Yeah.
So there was one guy, producer, his name is Luke Williams. So I had all the chords and the structures done. So I went up to him, and he was struggling that I can do the bass part and all that. I said, okay, I know a kid, he can play some bass in it. So then I picked up Waleed, that guy. At that time, he was, he was in different bands. So when they played together and they teamed up, when my song was done, so they played like they did like really big shows after that. So it was not the same, producer. So I'm still working on it. So I might add some piano in it. So I'm not like fully done with the song. So it's in the process. Yeah. And to me, cover songs are like a challenge. You have to really keep the older elements, and then you have to really do justice with what you think it should be done. And plus unless you make a video, the real meaning of the video, so the song is never understood by the audience.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Most people watch visually, like 90%.
Visually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for Boleyga, I did the storyboard on the Excel. So from all the seconds and all that, I choose everything. So while I was working with the movie video editor director, he said that I don't do it on Excel. All these movie director, they just do sketches, man. And I said that you have to schedule it. If you once you get it scheduled, said it will be easy to execute. So for me, being an architect, it was easy to run it in Excel, and divide it in time. How
Yeah.
much time you're gonna spend. So
That's
it
great.
was quite a challenge.
So
So
there's a video of this on your YouTube, is that right?
which
So
one?
guys, for this song, for Goro Kila Kala.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's on Ghulab Janamz YouTube. Also, you guys, you can check out thejanams.com, the website for the band, where all of these other links you will be able to find as well. Facebook for Ghulab Janamz, facebook.com/Ghulab Janamz. On Instagram, find Sarmad as Ghulab Janamz. Hashtag Ghulab Janamz. You find them on YouTube and Twitter as T Janamz. So for YouTube, if you look up Ghulab Janamz, Goro Kinakalo, you will find this music video, and also find Boleyga, which is a beautiful, beautiful shot, like a movie. I totally love it. I covered the song. My shots were not nearly as good, but the original video for this is amazing. Totally love it. So check that out. All right. So yes, what would you say was your biggest motivation to date to cover this song? Like, was it written in anything like a modern movement we're going through, or was it just from your personal inspiration?
yeah. Personal inspiration. I would say my Venus is placed is from sun. It's 12 from the sun. So I always get connected with people which are totally different from my culture. So which I've grown up with. And you won't find a lot of Pakistani and Indian people making a song like Hum Bolega, totally on apocalypse, and investing such a time and money on it. And I'm very well connected with all the friends that I made, all during my stay in US and Canada. So it's not about nationality. You might even connected with some person who has who's you're in Pakistan, and might the other person might be in Israel or maybe in India. So it's that's how your vibe attracts your tribe. So if you have to change your tribe, you have to change your vibe,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
That's true.
possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The things that we think, the things that we project in our mind are the ones that are coming reality in our life.
Yeah.
The people and the opportunities, we always meet the right ones. And yeah, and it's so funny how we met the completely random
Oh
all
yeah.
those years ago. And then we started talking about these concepts that I wrote in my book. And you were writing something at the time as well. And I'm like, wow, that really works.
Oh yeah.
So yes, I completely agree. I like your perspective on astrology being the shadow of the psychology, right? Because psychology is so scientific. In psychology, we tend to pathologize things. So like, this is a pathology, this is abnormal, this is this and that. But astrology, on the other hand, shows you that all these abnormal things can actually be your strengths. The reason I got into astrology myself, so much, like, it's in part of my culture as well. So I grew up
Yeah.
knowing about horoscopes and all that, and my parents are into it. But for me personally, I started such a deep interest in it because it showed me that there are some strengths in my personality that I wasn't aware of because I was going with the traditional, like, okay, that's my sun sign. But if you look at other parts of your chart, be like, I'm actually mostly fire. Like most of my chart is fire. And I've discovered that I'm an Aries according to Kabbalah, my reincarnation this lifetime. And it just like changed the way I do things. It just rang so true with me that I had this like feeling in my chest, like, boom, that's it. That's the thing.
Yeah, there are a lot of things. Yeah, you have your moon sign, then you have, these nodes and all that. You connect with people with, I mean, I can find these, the soul connection in a horoscope,
Hmm.
and yeah, it is very interesting.
Yeah.
So, and another thing about astrology is that you can't test astrology in any lab.
You have
So
to live the life to test this. You have to live the life
yeah,
of that person. Yeah.
absolutely. So that's why, the other thing is that if you meet any therapist who would know astrology and psychology, they are extremely rare and very amazing people.
Hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, so that I happen to know some people. They are like quite fun to really hang out with. But I know a guy who's a PhD, and he was a Capricorn. He never even understood why he thinks like a Capricorn. Then I really explained him the concept of mountain goat. So he said, "Wow, man, you really swiped me off the foot." I mean, he said, "Oh, Capricorn are very career focused. They are not into any other things. They are like they are very much hell bent. They make connections with their ambitions and all that."
Hmm.
So he said, "Yeah, it's quite true." So yeah, it's a very fascinating thing, astrology, because um, before there was any religion, astrology existed, and astrology also is by default by a certain part of any religion consists. There's a certain part of astrology. For instance, Muslims, they use the lunar calendar,
Hmm.
and in Western, it's the sun. They use the sun as a sun's rotation, Earth's rotation around the sun. So it is, yeah, and it's a lot of you know it's kind of a journey of self-discovery, knowing astrology and applying, and it's amazing thing.
Yeah, that's true. Amazing. Okay, Sarmad, thank you so much for coming today for part two. And given your situation, I hope that you completely recover and feel really well.
Yeah.
What would be your sort of like final piece of advice for anyone who wants to prevent COVID-19 in their life or just taking care of themselves? What would be sort of like your last 1 minute summary, as in like eat well, sleep well, sort of thing?
Okay. Okay. My real discovery was I discovered the food which can give you the real immune system, that can enhance your immune system. So say goodbye to trans fat or the junk food. Eat healthy as much as you can, and if you're a smoker, quit smoking, and protect your older ones, elder ones, because I mean, it's easy to get infected, but the recovery process is fairly long. And I repeat, it's not a death sentence, but try to be safe as much as you can, and that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We have more viewers on Facebook, like Brian from Calgary saying hello and all the best. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. Thank you, Sarmad, for sharing your amazing music, for sharing your experience through this very interesting journey. I hope we'll have you back again when you have more music out, and we'll be
Yeah.
happy to feature it, absolutely. And I am about to do a little special surprise for you guys. So I will do a short cover of my own of Goro Kina Kalo. So stay tuned for that. I don't know what it's going to be like yet because we're still in quarantine, but I really want to release one, and it'll be really great to sort of pay tribute to this amazing piece. And meanwhile, you guys tune in to the website for Ghulab Janamz at thejanamz.com. Read about the band, read about Sarmad. He's got a big story on there. On Facebook at /Ghulab Janamz. And that is GULAB JANAMZ at the end. On Instagram, follow at Ghulab Janamz as well. On YouTube, tune in to Ghulab Janamz. Yes?
The real pronunciation is Ghulab Janamz.
Ghulab Janamz. I'm sorry.
Janamz.
Well, that's just what I do. I butcher all the names. So on Twitter too at TJanamz, Ghulab Janamz. Yes. So look them up on YouTube and find the cover of Boleyga that they did. It's an amazing video. Find the cover of Goro Kina Kalo, both amazing videos. So go ahead, see it for yourself, listen and enjoy. And this is why we do what we do, is to bring you the original story from the artist directly to your ears and to your eyes. So thank you guys so much. Have an amazing week, and I will see you soon with another episode. Bye.
That's all, folks. If you like Iron Fiddle songs, download them at virabermenke.com/music. See you next time.